gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Friends, Facts, and Fiction. As always, this podcast is made possible by our local convenience stores, the misappropriation of history, and you. And now to your hosts, Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut.
What's up? What's happening, world? This is a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Season 3, all about psychology. And today we're doing music on the brain, the psychology of music, creation, and things of such. Episode 24. I'm Justin Hammonds, and I'm looking at my boy Drew Shellnut.
Yes, sir.
And my boy Grant Bramlett.
Yes, sir.
And we have a dope-ass guest today, Mr. Kevin. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Kevin Tetuan.
Tetuan. See, I was going to say Tetuan. I know it's going to be wrong.
It scares everybody because it's a crazy last name.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're not sure if it's from where. Mm-hmm. No one's ever really seen or heard this word before they see it for the first time. Mm. And all of us Tetuans have many iterations. Tepuan, Teflon, Tatooine. We can all.
I was about to say was something to do with Star Wars.
Yeah.
It has to be in there.
My favorite ever was Titsworth.
Titsworth is good.
What?
Titsworth.
Yeah, so we, every year we get together over Christmas and share. So have you guys heard any new pronunciations?
Oh, that's like y'all's thing?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, my favorite was Titsworth. And the best thing about it was I was in line at NES, and there was nobody in there, a bunch of empty chairs, and this one lady behind the desk. I write my name down. She sees me write it, and she's like, "You have to wait." And I write my name and I walk over. Before I even sit down, she just goes, "Titsworth?" I'm like, "You just saw me write Tetuan." But
There you
Titsworth.
go. There you go.
story for the ages, yeah.
I will say, though, that it's one of
Right
those
to pair of
last names where I'm like, you know Kevin, right? When I'm talking to someone else, and they're like,
Oh.
I mean, maybe. And I'm like, Kevin Tetuan, and they're like, in that moment, they're either, no, I would definitely know that name, or, oh, yeah, I love that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're either like, "Man, I love him," or "What the fuck did you just say?" Can I say fuck on here? Are we
Just
like-
put a fucking curse on my family.
Shit checked.
Yeah, we say a lot of wild shit on here, bro. So it's all
Good.
But yeah, man, thank you for coming through for this.
Thank you for
episode.
having me, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're gonna get into the hot facts about the old music on the brain here in a second. But I believe Tetuan here has a song of the day he'd like to.
Oh yes. And if you guys want me to do a little background thing, let me know whenever that.
Yeah,
On
we'll just run it real quick.
On the song.
Yeah, we'll run it.
or
and then
no,
you
just
can
on
talk
me
about it.
when I'm here. Or,
You don't know the history of the song?
I don't know. I mean, I have my personal.
No, like
history.
who wrote it, who composed it, who everything.
The release
About
date.
the
This is my dad's
The
song.
release date. Yeah.
He wrote it when I was in 3rd grade.
No, I wish.
Yeah.
So if you want to introduce the song. you
Oh
can.
man, I even forget who it's by. I just know that there's a guy that does like mouth trumpet, and it comes out of nowhere. And I liked listening to the song just because I thought it was really funny. And then I just really started to then like the song.
Very well.
And it's about a interesting issue.
Okay. We'll let you.
Shoe size, if you know what I mean.
Shoe size.
size.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
no,
you're
think
good.
about
Yeah,
big
you're good.
feet.
Yeah,
Big shoes.
means you get big hands, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's by Serpent with Feet, and it's called Same Size Shoe.
Yeah, mouth trumpet.
Trumpet, oh, oh, oh.
Oh my god.
The harmonies.
Bring me my trumpet, oh.
Ooh.
And I'm telling you, dude, if you listen to this from the beginning, when this comes in, it's just
So
they
good.
wait for it and they just drop it right when it needs to be dropped.
Oh,
And
man.
it's amazing.
That
That
is
is
same size shoe. Huh?
that is fantastic. Actually, I was.
It was some artist though.
Serpent with Feet. So a lizard.
Shoot, they're all,
Okay.
he's all
Yeah.
he's
So a
all,
lizard's
he's a
got the
fetish
feet.
rapper.
Yeah.
You know?
Serpent with feet, huh?
I
He's
love
a
how much
fetish
pomp
rapper.
and circumstances behind that. Like, give me my trumpet sound.
That's like some shit that happens in practice rooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like rehearsals. It's
Joking
like,
around.
You know that bit. It's like, yeah, that bit. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do
And
that.
somebody else is
Yeah.
like, oh, dog, hit record.
Yeah.
Can you do that mouth trumpet again, bro? This shit is gold.
You know,
Yeah.
you're supposed to do that. And you're like, oh yeah.
I got that. I got that. Well, yeah, we're here. That's funny. Y'all can check that song out. It's hilarious. But yeah, man, if you want to give a background of, who you are, where you're from, what you got going on, and stuff and things.
Basically, I'm Grant's friend, and that's why I'm here. But we met at restaurants, and then we end up playing in a band together. And so my background is a little bit of musics. I went to SAE here in Nashville and worked at a studio for a while, and I've produced some things and been in a bunch of bands, usually like the auxiliary guy.
Yeah.
I don't play any one thing super awesome, but I play a lot of things averagely.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
I disagree. You bring something really special to the table, especially on guitar, in my opinion.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll
But-
take that.
You are quite good at a whole bunch of different stuff. Especially, he's that guy in the studio that's like, you know what this needs? And then he'll like do it out of context. We're like, that's funny, Kevin. And then he'll put it in the song. And we're like, oh, that was fucking genius.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully
Very
I can
creative
have a lot of
mind.
those moments. That's what I like. I would say is more the production and then the
Virtuostic aspect of
virtuosity.
yeah.
Yeah, and then my other background is healthcare. So I worked in restaurants, and then I just got a master's in occupational therapy, and I'm taking my board exam this Friday.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
retaking it.
This is
it's a
round
beast
2,
of a
correct?
test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I
Yeah.
hired like a good company, like tutoring.
Oh,
They have
nice.
a bunch
nice.
of a bunch of like Zoom calls and private tutoring, and that's the kind of thing I need.
Yeah. Right
This
on.
brain, and I got ADD, which is a big part of probably what we'll talk about. As far as I did want to touch on like creativity and where that comes from,
Yeah.
stems from.
Yeah. For sure.
But so I actually have 2 extra hours to take it now,
Oh, nice.
which is huge because it's a 4-hour test, and if you take about a minute and 10, minute 20 on each question, then you finish with no extra time.
Whoa.
So now I have 2 extra hours.
Yeah,
so
that's
it
great.
sucks because it's going to be a 6-hour
yeah.
test. But
That's like pulling a shift.
Yeah,
my
but you'll
guy.
be able to fit your, processing through that.
exactly.
You don't have to
Yeah.
rush through shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
So,
try my my song idea?
I forgot what it is.
We were talking about making a really simple melody around every potential answer. And so you're just humming to yourself in a room full of people like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And then somebody
I'm definitely down with any mental trick. Like
somebody
that.
next to you
But-
finally snaps. I can't take it anymore.
Well, they wouldn't let me. That's the thing. You're not allowed to do that,
Yeah.
But I'm actually in a room by myself this time, so I can.
You can sing as much as you want.
Oh, yeah.
You can get a Broadway tune if you want to in that thing. Man.
Yeah.
You know?
My girlfriend was like, "You can bring in your fidgeters and your spinners." I was like, "Yeah, I can bring my toy soldiers," and just like went into a weird place.
Yeah.
See, are you writing that with one of your soldiers?
Yeah,
Don't mess with my battleground scene over here,
it's
guys.
weird. Yeah,
Come on.
It's emotional
You
support
make a fort
battleground
out
scene.
of
yeah,
a bunch of
exactly.
desks.
My emotional support toys,
Exactly. It's needed. It's needed sometimes. You
little
know?
drum kit,
Yeah.
mini drum kit in there.
There you go. Little finger drum set.
Yeah.
You know? Like the
Oh
old
man, they
finger
have those,
skates.
don't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Man, I've seen some videos. Again, I'm a YouTube. I love YouTube.
YouTube guy over here.
Big time. But yeah, I've seen like some finger drums doing like metal, like double bass.
That's crazy.
Man,
That's
awesome.
insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's
how
called
much-
meth.
The shit that people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since 2020, man. Like people do the weirdest shit now. This
Yeah.
fucking crate challenge is taking off. Shit's wild.
Oh man.
That shit.
I think
talked
the
30
whites
minutes
got a
about
hold
that
of
shit.
it though.
Oh yeah.
That's what I read one that said white people got a hold of the crate challenge. We're out. It was like somebody on I think his name is Lil Duval.
Oh yeah,
on Instagram.
Yeah.
I was like, yep. And also it was like Jimmy Fallon or something. It was like the crates were like nicer crates that weren't as dangerous. I'm like, come on, you're not even really doing it like the right way.
The danger is the attraction.
Exactly. You have to be able to really die for it to be entertaining.
Yeah, bro. They had hundreds of people in Atlanta meet up for the Hood Olympics.
They did?
And they did a crate challenge. It was like hundreds of
they
people.
did.
I've only
killed.
seen little videos of like
Crazy,
10
bro.
people or
no,
something.
I'm talking about it was like a crowd, like a fucking like
It was thousands.
a match, like a fucking
my
NBA
gosh.
match or some shit. It was wild.
Did
bro.
they have like a tournament? Like,
Yeah. It's like whoever
my
wins,
gosh.
like it gets moved up to like, yeah, it's wild, bro. It's fucking nuts.
I've only
it's a
seen
lot
people
going on.
bust on it. I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen I saw maybe one person.
There's one guy
do it.
that rolled a blunt while he was doing it, and like successfully just rolled a blunt while he was walking up the crate, and just like lit it up at the end. Yeah.
Oh my
And then a
gosh.
mascot did it.
That's
on a basketball
showmanship right
court.
there.
Atlanta.
This is some
Wow.
wild shit, man. Atlanta just
Atlanta's
is the
out there,
culture
man.
pot, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Shouts out to ATL.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, you passed your exam on Friday, and then you
That's right.
get to
And then I get to
declare loudly to the world that you are a
a licensed OT.
dope.
Yeah. Occupational therapy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I can start working as soon as I just pass this damn test.
And are you planning on incorporating musical therapy into that?
If I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for reeling it back in. Yeah. So I love music and I love the brain. That's what I would say.
Right.
So in therapy, there's a lot of different things that you can do with pediatrics and also with
Geriatrics
dementia.
too,
And,
as well.
yeah, geriatrics.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All of them.
Yeah.
And really anything, just because of the diffuse nature of where music resides. It's the most non-localized stimuli compared to like sight, which is
Right.
very focal, but
Yeah.
you'll get into all that, I'm sure. But
Just one lobe right
Yeah.
there in the back of the skulls
There's
Yeah.
one lobby.
for the eyeballs.
yeah,
One lobby.
big old squishy lobe.
That old lobby.
I think that's really cool. Something I kept. You were talking about. There was a while where you were doing musical therapy in. Was it a nursing home facility or was it more?
Well,
for,
I did two. What would you call them? We call them field work, but it's kind of like clinicals. And one was in pediatrics, and one was in skilled nursing facility. So with the kids, I was doing stuff with metronome therapy for attention deficit, and that's all about kind of matching your inner perception of time with the outside world. Because if those are askew, then you either get too much or not enough. It's kind of like that feeling of like when you're at the DMV and it's so slow. Time is relative,
Yes, right, yes, definitely.
So, but it's especially relative besides in the terms of physics, but in our perception. So your internal clock is going much faster than the external world in that scenario. So it's just like, can we please hurry up?
Yeah.
And so with someone that has attention deficit, oftentimes their internal clock is too fast. And so they're, to them, they're not really easily distracted. That's just like normal.
That's how they going. Exactly.
Yeah. But for many other reasons too, that individual doesn't typically function well in the typical environment. So metronome training is just kind of getting them to bounce a ball or do a physical activity that crosses midline, so it hits both hemispheres to a metronome, and then they can learn to kind of self-regulate their attention.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's a subconscious thing that they can eventually do, through
when they
time.
Yeah.
And
wild.
then, that's really cool. And I hope so wherever I end up working, whatever population, I'm going to use it. And then in Alzheimer's and dementia, that I was doing, it's really stuff I got from a company called, oh crap.
That's a weird company.
Music. Yeah. Music. Wow. I should know this. Music and memory. Yeah. And that was kind of pioneered by Oliver Sacks, if you've heard of that guy.
Yeah. For
Okay.
sure.
He's so awesome. R.I.P. But anyway, he kind of spearheaded some research on the connectivity of the brain and kind of like pimping out music for the sake of plasticity. So there was a couple patients that were probably pretty high, and we use like Allen's cognitive level, so they were like dementia stage 5 or something. It's pretty high.
Yeah.
But I found the right music to kind of help them regulate their emotions and stop some hallucinations and just kind of get more function out of the people, which that's essentially what occupational therapy is about. It's all about function.
Yeah.
It's not about the just Western model. Try and be holistic. Whatever we can do to get the job done and it's safe, we'll do it. So the trick with that therapy is all about finding the music from when you were about, I think, 14 to 17. And when you do some trial and error, but when you find the song, you know it because you see, like, there's a lot of videos where people haven't talked in 5-10 years, and then they come in and give them, and they ask the daughter caretaker, when were they born, where are they from, look up the popular music.
Yeah.
They play some, and then when they hit one, then they come alive.
Yeah.
And there was one guy in particular that I think the documentary is called Alive Inside. And that's where he starts speaking for the first time in like 5 years.
That's
and his
crazy.
daughter hasn't heard him speak or even look her in the eye. And all of a sudden he's like looking at her and answering questions about, and he starts singing the song. It's like a Cab Calloway song. And he, like, his voice is kind of cool. Like he's like on pitch. And it's like, you just see his eyes. You see the person again.
Yeah.
It's
So
back. Yeah.
It's crazy the power that music has to reroute some neurological function, including communication, which is huge.
Yeah,
that's
that's wild,
amazing.
bro. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope
Got
to.
goosebumps off of that.
Oh man, if you haven't seen that
That's
clip,
crazy.
it is so cool.
Yeah.
Just look up Oliver Sacks' "Alive Inside."
Right on. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Definitely get into that. Well, fuck yeah. I'm glad you're here today, my guy.
Yeah, right?
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah. Well, shit,
Me
we're gonna
too.
slide up into these hot facts, man. I mean, it's another Grant authored document
facts.
today.
Yeah.
The hot facts.
You guys, do you have any samples like DJ Jock, like
Yeah, we
fart
got-
sounds?
Oh, yeah,
and like,
we've got
You want to
some.
run the gamut?
facts.
So we got.
We should have some hot. We should have hot facts.
I'm gonna spend some time with the engineer and get a whole new series of buttons going. Probably for
Nice.
next season.
Yeah.
A couple are funny secrets. Justin's gonna hate one of them so much.
Word.
Ooh, man, I can't wait to know what that
I'm happy
is.
that you told me this before you showed it to me, so I can be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My emotional.
really good.
Yeah.
But here's the only I think one that we've made for ourselves. Weird news update. So that's for a weird news update. If
Yeah.
No, you don't say.
Pick it up. Yeah. Just in case anybody was confused. And then we got that guy.
Ooh,
Ow. Yeah. What's up, everybody? You know.
That was sliding.
yeah, I like that.
And that's if the facts get a little too hot.
Ooh.
We need to leave that subject.
We got to slide out of
Slide
there.
up out of there. Slide
So you
up out of
slide
there.
in and out of the facts.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
You know.
It's very
This is if
emotional.
say an illustrious guest is on, like Kevin Tetuan.
There you
Hello, thank you. Are these all Logic? Or did you?
Actually, this should just pre-programmed
I like
into the
that.
fucking board. And
Except
I
for
liked
the
them.
one that one we made.
Yeah. And then this is, And then
man,
he
you got a lot.
said,
Yeah. You have to have
The
that.
old Jay Leno.
"Those are not my nachos."
Jesus
That's
Christ.
good, man. I like it.
Good times. Good
The
times.
first one's my favorite, I think.
Me too.
Just because the it's like underwhelmingly sung, and it's
Oh,
like,
it's bad.
"Hey,
Oh, it's
here it is.
Weird news update.
Let down, like
Oh man.
Oh man, that one makes me happy.
it's good though.
But
I'm sure they're going more in that direction for season 4. I'm sure.
oh fuck yeah, Doug. So today and then next week is honestly almost exclusively based on the book "This Is Your Brain on Music" by Daniel J. Levitan.
I'm familiar.
One of those classic situations
I know
where
Levitan.
I was like, I want to do music. And then I found an old book that was recommended to me by my lovely wife, Grace, and then some other people, I think. And then I started reading it, and I was like, well, I don't need any other fucking references. And
Yeah, this is a good one.
It's fantastic.
This book did get me into
this
wanting
world.
to get into healthcare
That's awesome.
Nice.
because of I can't remember if he was involved in therapy with this, or I think does this book just kind of explain what's happening neurologically?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
And then it's like him diving into like the neuropsychological world with his background in music. You know, obviously he's hyper focused on music because he's
He's a jazz guy.
he's like
right.
a classic rock guy from San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, here's a few highlights and insights that I wanted to just kind of. Here's a little topical overview. The book explains where music historically comes from, what it triggers in our brain, how we develop our tastes, and why it's a crucial part of our lives, along with what makes great musicians great. Music is an essential part of evolution. Whether you like a song or not is based on your expectations and ability to predict what comes next. So that age-old trope of you, what is it? People like what they know. They don't know what they like. They like what they know. And it basically kind of does a psychological breakdown as to why that
Is a thing.
exists. Yeah, exactly. Every song you hear leaves an imprint for future reference in your brain.
Oh, yeah.
And I made some little lessons from this.
We got lessons.
Lesson number one. You could not take away music without changing the course of history, since it's a part of our evolution.
For sure.
There's a small minority of scientists that argue that music only serves hedonistic purposes. It's simply a byproduct of language and is only a pastime for us to feel pleasure.
Lies.
But that would mean that if you eliminated all music from the world right now, life would just go on as if nothing happened. If so, then you'll likely find yourself on the majority side of scientists who believe that music played a key role in our evolution and has paved the way for human ancestors to develop speech. Music and speaking are quite similar, so it's possible that by practicing singing and making sounds, our ancestors could have developed the skills needed to later articulate words.
Right. Our hearts move to a beat, my guy. It's just essential, bro.
They say
Shit
that
is essential.
traditionally the kick drum is first rather than the snare because of the resonance of your mother's heart when you're in the womb.
Look at that.
The lub dub, as they call it, because you have your different atriums, ventricles, and it, but it's a little deeper.
That makes sense,
So
actually.
I think you're like that's totally true. Those scientists up there sound crazy. The hedonism ones. Get out of here.
So,
I know, right?
Get out of
Also,
here.
some music causes me pain.
yes.
That's true.
Not as much pleasure as
is
like
very
same
true.
size shoe. That is a very pleasurable experience for me. When I hear that.
The
Just
mouth trumpet is
everyone
unmatched, bro. It's unmatched.
I never knew what I was missing until I heard mouth trumpet. Dude. But
What's
you
so
can't do it
funny
too
to me
much.
is that the Beatles used to do that shit, but they did it so well that you wouldn't notice a lot of times.
Yeah, especially the which one is the
They did it a
the
fair amount,
B-side? It's
the
like a
White
bunch
Album.
of is it the B-side? Maybe a White Album, but it's a bunch of clips instead of like traditional songs. They kind of just took snippets and like put them all together, and they're just really screwing around back there,
Oh, yeah.
and it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Sober. Totally
Really,
sober.
they were
Yeah, the whole time.
for White Album.
Never touched a drug.
Whoa.
Whoa, there's
Sarcasm.
no way. Yeah, there's no way.
Totally sober, bro.
And additionally on all that, Darwin believed that music was a way of finding a mate for two reasons. Singing and dancing requires you to be physically and mentally, therefore sexually, healthy. If you have time to sing and dance, your food and shelter are likely to be taken care of, which makes you a safe bet in terms of survival. So the musician is a sexy, sexy person.
I mean,
Hey,
Prince survived.
Look at this group of guys here.
Come on now.
Did Prince have any kids? He could have,
He could have had a lot of
as much
kids.
as he wanted.
Bro.
And he was a little
There's
bitty
no
dude.
telling. There's
Little
no
bitty
telling,
dude.
bro.
Yeah.
There's no telling.
Lesson number 2. Music is all about expectations and how well you can predict what's to come. How much you like a song depends primarily on one thing: how well you can predict what comes next. Great musicians play with your brain and expectations in the way they get you to expect something and then surprise you before taking you back to comfortable terrain. A great song surprises you, but not too much. It balances the familiar with the unknown and therefore creates the perfect mix of comfort and excitement.
The bridge.
It's all about that Goldilocks zone.
That's exactly right, baby.
And this is why I try not to hate on people and their music tastes.
Dude, it took me so
I
long.
still do, but
Me too.
I shouldn't.
Yeah.
because it's like wine or something. It's like if you don't have the neurons yet that have grown to appreciate, then you literally can't understand this complex song that I love because I'm a musician and have done production.
Yeah.
You know, when you do, it's like you're building up your repertoire. Then now you can appreciate more and more complex. But if you just never were exposed to that, then you're gonna like that shitty ass music.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, he actually he breaks that down very, very in depth.
cool.
But there's something that really spoke to me a lot in it, where he spends like 4 or 5 pages breaking down jazz and why it's awesome to some people, but also it just sounds like just a fucking mess of noise to other people.
Yeah,
and it's primarily in. Someone that doesn't enjoy jazz doesn't understand the structure of it, right? So, like back in the day, you took a popular song, that was the chorus or the head, right? And that was the chord structure in it. And then they would play the primary melody and fuck with it just a little bit. And then they'd go into a solo section, but they'd play that same chord structure, but then just totally abandon the primary melody. And they just repeat that over and over again, hit the head again, the primary melody, and then they'd be out. If somebody doesn't understand that it's a simple concept, but is conveyed in a very complex way. But if you don't get that simple context, then
you're disoriented.
Yeah, the entire time.
It's like, what do I follow here?
Exactly.
I don't know where to go.
It sounds like a bunch of noise.
It's just, I think it's the same with all forms of pattern recognition, especially visual art. I think we're doing the same things there. And it's like, I didn't really understand Jackson Pollock until I went and saw some of his work in MoMA, and it was like he had traditional art, you know, not just the splotches. And then when I saw that, and then I just did the tour. It was like 2 hours, and I just like looked at everything close and far away. And then when I got to like his most iconic stuff, I started seeing stuff in there.
You can see more,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was like, oh, but if you just look at it on a computer screen, it's like, oh yeah, anybody, you can just throw paint.
You just dolloping some shit, bro.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, great. Art's stupid.
Everybody can do art.
Yeah, give me some ranch, Ma.
Ketchup, ranch, mustard. Come on.
Yeah,
Funny,
A little bit of sauerkraut
funny side story.
for the
man.
squigglies.
Did y'all hear about the artist that sold the invisible statue
Oh,
for like
what?
25 grand or some shit? It's an invisible statue, and then another artist sued him because he took his invisible statue idea.
I thought you were going to say he counterfeited it. He counterfeited my invisible statue.
He said it was like plagiarism to his invisible statue.
That's fucking
Dude, it wasn't
It's-
Banksy.
it's
Was it
a-
Banksy?
No. It was,
that would be amazing.
I think it was some, of course, it was some European motherfuckers. But
Yeah.
like, bro. It's a funny ass story.
That's
dog.
amazing, dude.
I literally couldn't understand or believe that it's happening. But yeah, somebody bought an invisible statue for a couple grand.
This craziness, like it's all perception and just like, you know, money is fake or whatever. That just that whole idea is we all buy in. But I think the important thing with all this is what artists do is they teach others to see. They teach them to see in a way that they hadn't before. And the best ones do that en masse.
Yeah.
And they do it for good.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can teach somebody to appreciate a little bit of this angle about this thing that they're bringing to the table, then you can cause people to be more open-minded.
Yeah,
which
course.
is basically the key contribution to, if you're a creative person, you're open. You're open as hell.
You get snaps for that.
Did you have a
'cause
jazz
that was
moment?
fantastic.
His jazz snaps?
Yeah,
That was good. That was good.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
good
the,
shit.
I love the words that came out of his mouth in that order.
He did some good words.
Yeah,
Lesson
got
number
some.
3. Each song you hear leaves an imprint on your brain, which is used for future reference. Memory is an incredibly complicated thing, but music seems to have somehow cracked the code. Songs are really easy for us to remember. While many areas of the brain light up simultaneously during music, such as your subcortical structures, auditory cortices, the hippocampus, and others, something unique happens the very first time you hear any song. A certain set of neurons fire together, and a unique, abstract, generalized imprint is created. This can then be called upon any future time you hear this song or a part of it. That's why when studies looked at the brain waves of people when they listened to songs and compared them to when they were just imagining the song in their head, the patterns were indistinguishable.
That's
Literally
really
the same
interesting
shit's
because
going on.
Yeah.
with generally speaking, with memory of all different types, it's not like the whole computer analogy for the brain is pretty silly. It's not at all what it's like.
They function entirely differently.
Yeah, and we don't only use 10% of our brains. That was completely out of context. That people
We use
it's not like that at all.
9.2% of our brains.
Yeah, I don't know though. Maybe I do, but
I was say, some people use
maybe
less than others.
Yeah, that's true. Shoot, I forgot where I was going with that. How did I start?
Computers are different. 10% is a fallacy.
Before all that, though, what were you saying?
I was
Memory.
saying a bunch of stuff. So when you're listening to a song,
Oh, right. No, I
He
got
didn't
it,
remember.
got it.
We're talking about memory. He didn't
Okay, so
remember.
memory in general. Exactly. How ironic is that? And I seriously don't even smoke weed. But so yeah, memory in general is not pulled up from a hard drive or anything. It's literally recreated each time that you remember something. So it's like a new memory each time. But what's cool about music is it looks, at least from scans, whether it's fMRI or EKG and all those different things that they use, it looks like the closest to the, I guess, antecedent memory, more so than like a fact or something or a story. So that's just so crazy to me that
nuts.
it looks that identical.
That's wild.
Yeah.
something about music is one of the more like strongest memory associative, like neuro mapping elements for us for some weird reason.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's probably why it helps in the OT that you're talking about.
Yeah, I
With,
think.
like dementia and shit. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's why like little kids, you know, that's why you have a song about the ABCs or you know, all the little kid songs is because it's one of
Baby
the
Shark, bro, you know what I'm
strongest
saying?
memory
Yeah.
things.
Baby
Jesus
Shark is
fucking
huge.
Christ.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the hippocampus, I think is what they say, which is the emotional center. And I think that's why it has that amazing recall.
Yeah.
And the diffuse nature of it too. It's everywhere.
Oh,
So-
like the hippocampus and the amygdala are like right next to each
Yeah.
other, and they're
Yeah.
talking to each other all the time. So you have that
They
emotional
neighbors.
response
Hippo-
and memory
Hippo-
attachment. And if you can
Yeah.
involve both simultaneously, like with music,
Yeah.
then it's very, very strong. You know.
Yeah, I've got some memory tricks that kind of do that same thing. Like, have you all ever heard of the kind of the mansion idea of Socrates' mansion?
I've heard of Thug Mansion.
Yeah.
By Tupac. Yes.
This is the exact
he
same
might
thing.
have done it. He might have got that from there.
Exact same thing.
He was deep.
That was good shit. It was the opening window. I jumped through it. I jumped through it.
Hell
But anyway, yeah, the mansion idea.
No, but what you do is if you want to remember a bunch of stuff, you create a mansion in your house. In each room, you can have as many as you want, but I do 5. And I use the house I grew up in. And so what you do is you take a concept or anything, if you want to remember it, you make up a story in your mind's eye, a visual story that's really either funny, violent, or perverted, or anything that's like crazy. Because when you're doing that, you're engaging the hippocampus. That's what moves memory from short term to long term.
I got you.
So if you do
It's a
that,
strong
and you have all
emotional
these
attachment to it. Yeah.
so it's endless. As many rooms as you can remember. And what you're doing with the rooms is that memory is already in there permanently. Like I will always remember my family room in the house I grew up in. So that memory is not going anywhere. The new memory, if I attach it to something that's already there, now it's like sometimes I'll be able to remember like random lists of words, only hear them once, and know them like 3 days later.
Right.
Yeah.
And frontwards, backwards.
Yeah.
But I think music somehow does that in a weird way too. It
Yeah.
attaches itself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so something that they like refer to that as is multiple trace theory, and it suggests that
okay.
our brains store both more abstract, like the overall combination of instruments, rhythm, and melody, say within a song, as well as more specific information like slang words and the lyrics of the songs. And it's how you remember a childhood event from decades ago when you hear an old song, or where you first listened to a song by your favorite artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, pick a song you like a whole bunch. that you heard as a child. If you listen to that right now, you'll probably get some pretty vivid memories of where you were.
We probably should go ahead and do that. I'll start. Let's see. What was one of the first? Yeah, I bought tapes. I bought a cassette.
Oh yeah.
It might have been SWV.
Nice.
Or wow. You out your biscuit. What is that? Anybody?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh man, it's a Three Black Chicks, not SWV, a different one.
Shit. I got...
In Vogue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Boom. You see,
Yes.
you put a frame on the idea, and I was like, okay, 3 black chicks in groups in the 90s.
Yeah.
All right. I can run this from the top real easy.
Nice.
Word. Who's that?
Yeah, so that's mine.
Sure. I would say like the it's a story I like telling because it really is kind of like the origin story of my unhealthy obsession with music. So my grandmother used to live on like a 10-acre plot, like farmhouse, pigsty or pig coop. What the fuck am I trying? Chicken coop, pigsty.
Pig coop?
Tractor shed.
They like to be
Damn, y'all were country.
They like to be really nestled up in the trees every night. They can't fly, but they can glide. Those pigs
can fly.
You better watch them.
Oh shit! I said pig coop. Anyways,
Jesus Christ.
lots of mowing had to happen,
Because the
and
pig
me
coop gets
being
overgrown.
Yeah.
And so basically, when I was old enough to operate a riding lawnmower, my dad was like, "Go help me mow," and I was like, "I don't want to." And then he was like, "Here's a Walkman and headphones,"
Yeah.
and that kept me entertained. But he got me
when my
Fragile.
family found that out about me, they just let me wash cars, do yard work, listen to music. Just let him listen to music.
Yeah.
He'll do any fucking thing for hours. It's like, damn it.
That's a
got
good
me.
trick.
Yeah, but he got me Led Zeppelin 2, Fragile by Yes, the album, and then the hard rock classic hits of 1969.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, cool.
The
Yeah.
hard rock.
Yeah.
Classic
Yeah.
hits. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, that's so,
And
it's
I
so
wore
great to
those
zone out.
cassettes out. Like I did not stop listening to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Front to back, baby.
Yeah,
Front
that's
to
cool.
back.
Fucking idiot, and I'm a musician now.
Yeah.
For me, it's, the first song I learned back and forth lyric-wise was Me and You, Your Mama and Your Cousin, too. Outcast, Elevators. I think that's Equimini, ATLians.
It's Equimini.
It's like modern classical
yeah.
music, right?
Yes, Outcast. Yes, there's a classic group.
Don't
from
ask
the
Grant. He had a
1800s.
pig coop. He don't know.
he was far out of the urban world in his youth.
Mississippi Pig Coop. Yeah. That's actually the name of our new band. I
Dude,
don't know
that
if you
is
guys know.
such a
Mississippi
good band
Pig
name.
Coop.
We got
Mississippi Pig Coop.
That's amazing.
We got a new band name every fucking week at this point.
We do.
Yeah.
But no, that was the first video of me reciting rap lyrics was that song. And my uncle was like, I think he knows it. He knows it. And he filmed me like rapping the whole fucking song. At like age of fucking like 6 or 8 or something like that. I'm rapping like the crazy fucking verse that Andre has, like back and forth. It's like, yeah, I guess this is my thing. I guess
That's
I'm gonna do
cool.
that.
Yeah.
That's a nice memory.
I'll have to listen to that song. What is it again?
Elevators by
Okay. I
Outkast.
don't know if I've heard it.
Me,
You probably
and
have.
you,
Yeah, I'm sure.
your mama and your cousin too. Rolling down the strip on Vogue, coming up slamming Cadillac doors.
He's like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, nope. We're going to go with no on that one.
Yeah. Sounds cool though.
Mine is the Eagles' greatest hits. When I was a kid, my grandmother used to throw that on along with Elton John and a whole lot of Freddie Mercury. All the Freddie Mercury.
Nice.
Which is
Even his solo stuff.
yes.
Oh, weird.
No, she was yeah. She was
That was not good.
No, it was not. She told me, she was just like, my heart broke when I found out that he wasn't straight. And I was like, you didn't know that?
He was half straight.
You did? Yeah, but you didn't know that?
Pretend girlfriend.
What's
yeah.
the song that I want to blow your rocket ship to the sky. It's like, did you listen to those lyrics?
when he's just like getting coke poured down his nose while he's singing.
Yeah.
Because I want to have a good time. Having gay
Because I'm
sex.
having a good time. Our impersonations
Twacked
so
up,
wrong. We're just like, wait.
That was that. Well, hey, look at this.
No,
Just
but yeah, I mean, it was
giving our musical origins out.
It was Eagles' greatest hits. That kind of biggest thing, other than unfortunately Leonard Skinner, everything,
Hey,
I know
anything
a
and
lot
everything. Like
of Leonard Skinner.
I am. You
know
guys
how-
know
you know
me.
how I like to,
I am not a drummer. I can sometimes carry a beat. I played in a Leonard Skinner cover band
Oh yeah,
as the drummer.
fuck yeah, you did.
That's how good he was.
You damn right.
Their drummer. I'm just kidding. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm hating.
Hey,
I'm gonna take it to the bathroom. I'm gonna be all like, Pyaw!
you know
I'm gonna
how,
take a bath. I'm gonna lay on the bed and be all like, Pyaw!
you know how I like to picture my baby Jesus
Oh,
singing "Leave" for Leonard Skinner. I'm in the
that's
front row.
he's wearing a tuxedo T-shirt because I like my Jesus to party.
But look,
He's
good.
got angel's wings, and I'm hammered
drunk
in the front row.
Oh, Talladega Nights.
Oh, man.
Anyway,
So, Kevin, did you want to have some? You said you brought some little notes with you.
Yeah. Mainly, so I wanted to talk about creativity. A lot of clinical psychologists pretty much measure creativity using something called the Big Five. So it's Big Five personality types. The data on this is really robust. It's pretty much, it's kind of counterintuitive at times, but also it's just the way it is. Like the study's really strong on this, which is definitely something you don't always hear about psychology, because a lot of the stuff is littered with studies that aren't actually able to prove what they purport to.
Right.
Just the nature of the complication of the mind and the brain and
Yeah.
how they interface. But the
It's
Big Five is
insanely
pretty
hard
solid.
to get like a good quality experiment conducted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there was even a bunch of controversy for maybe about a decade where there's all these studies that they had to go back and say, no, actually we don't know that the way we said we did. But this one
it's a
is
good thing
is
about
good.
science. They always keep, oh yeah, we were wrong. This is the right thing.
Yeah. and that is the nature of it, though. You know,
Yeah.
is it's better sometimes to prove something's not true because they do that enough times, then you get to the truth. And I think it's kind of backwards the way some people might think, but that's really the nature of how it should be. But
I agree.
with the Big Five, pretty much creativity is directly correlated to one of the metrics of the five, which is openness. So I don't remember them all. I think one is extroversion, conscientiousness, neuroticism, openness, and I forgot the fifth. But if you look into this or you take a test,
Damn it.
you kind of everybody has like their own stats, like video game charts, right? You have like the dude that has the knockout punch, but he's slow as hell.
Different
You know.
attributes. Yeah,
But he
yeah,
has
exactly.
all the strength. Yeah.
But
He
it's
punches
just
real good, but he's slow as hell. Yeah.
yeah, you get like if you were to do Street Fighter, you got Balrog. Like if he catches you and throws you up in the air and with that slam, you're done. But
Yeah.
it's hard for him to do that. So
Exactly.
that's kind of the idea with this is not everybody has it all at once. That's just not the way that we work because we are made and kind of develop to be specialized. And that's the thing about human beings in general is our greatest strength is our adaptability more than anything else. Like we don't have big fangs or, big teeth or, a bunch of hair, but we kind of were able to leverage those advantages to regulate our body temperature, for example, by not having hair like other animals or being able to outrun something for miles and miles and miles. So we don't actually have to kill it right then. We can just wound it and then. So
Chase
it's
it
kind
down.
of like
Yeah.
these are our attributes. So when it comes to the modern world and those Big Five traits, there's an interesting correlation between openness with Democrats and Republicans. And this is something that they've proven over and over and over again is like liberals in general are way more open. Therefore, they're way more creative. And they're usually lower in conscientiousness. So essentially the idea is if you're really good at doing something and like diligent, you're probably not that creative because it's like the accountant or a manager. They're really good stewards of things.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make up something no one else has made up yet because
They're
they
not
don't want to do that.
Not going to take a machete to the woods. They're going to take the asphalt path that's already.
Yeah,
like,
and they're
let's
going
go.
to maintain it and make sure that it's kept up, you
all
know,
the I's,
and
all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed,
Right.
everything is there in
I will
line.
honestly, it's funny
Structure.
and kind of perfect for this. Like when I got arrested for my DUI a little while ago, I was drunk. So just chatting up the cop on the way to jail, you know, because what else can you do?
yeah,
And I asked, you know, a question I've asked a few times before to police officers when the handcuffs are on, because, you know, the weird person I am. I asked him why he does it or why he likes being a cop, you know, and his answer honestly kind of floored me because it is very, very different than how I view the world. But it was he likes the order and the structure.
right.
He likes knowing what is expected of him at all times.
Right.
He has very clear-cut guidelines on how to live his life and do his job.
And he's probably extremely neurotic.
That's a fucking insane to me.
Because
It's nuts.
the measure of neuroticism is essentially your threshold for tolerating disgust.
Yeah.
People that are neurotic have a very low threshold, and then they're disgusted, and you know, and so someone like that needs the order. Things get out of order, then it's like
Stressful
I can't
for him.
handle it. So,
Yeah.
and it's interesting too. I think talking about music in general and pattern prediction, because to me that's sort of related to things like openness and the Big Five and neuroticism.
Yeah.
It's like if you can predict what's going to happen in the music and you're a highly open person, meaning you're really comfortable not knowing where things are going. If it's too easy for you to predict, you're not entertained.
Yeah.
It's like, because that's the thing about your, like, if you're a creative person, you have to be doing that. Otherwise, like, you don't get any enjoyment from just doing something else that somebody else has figured out and making it like,
Better.
I'm just going to do this. Not even like make it better. Like that's a form of creativity.
That's
you know?
true, actually, yeah.
But it's still not like and there's different levels to this, you know,
Right.
like if you're really high in openness and low in conscientiousness, then you probably don't want to just take something and make it better. You probably want to be doing something nobody else has ever done or even thought of. You know, but maybe you have a mix, right? But I think that's the general principle is that to be on the cusp or the frontier of going places nobody else has gone, that's what you have to do. And it's kind of interesting when you have like relationships where, you know, usually maybe like one person is like more that and the other person is more like the caretaker of the home, and sometimes they butt heads and everything, but there's a balance that needs to take place. And I think the other thing I want to mention about just creativity and openness in general is what you're really talking about is the brain's ability to abstract information and create abstractions.
Right.
And then pull those out, and then, or you could use the word archetype. And this would be more coming from Carl Jung, that his kind of departure from Freud, which, by the way, the thing about Freud is he was right about a lot of shit. And people now, I think sometimes in popular culture kind of like say, well, he was very interesting, but all that stuff was BS. But the thing about Freud that was right, he got a lot wrong too. But what he got right was no one ever really thought about thinking until that. I mean, imagine like before psychology, no one abstracted about thinking. You know, and that's the thing about dreams is like it came from you somewhere in there, but you don't know where and you don't remember. It's like you weren't really fully conscious. It's like, what is that? You know, that's wild. But so Jung departed from him because Jung kind of believed that there was something outside of the brain that was influencing things. And Freud was just kind of more, I guess you could say, materialist. But he developed the idea of the archetype. And the archetype is an abstraction from the oldest stories like Gilgamesh, Beauty and the Beast. All of these, you know, Shakespeare, they all have these forms like jazz, like you were talking about. You know, with music especially, I think one of the most original or oldest, forms is in Greece, where they would have the auditoriums, whereas the acoustics were naturally reverberant. And the form was, the chorus was actually the audience. The audience would sing as a part of like the performance. And so the chorus really represents to me in songwriting the other parts of your brain that are more of an abstraction, or maybe you could say your ego, or you could say the part of your brain that's like sort of outside of yourself. If you imagine each person is, we're multiple people all at once, really. That's what the word people actually means. It means mask. So everyone is always wearing a mask of some type. So that being said, the archetypes and abstractions that a creative person utilizes, they draw them out, and then they can hold them in their minds and then manipulate them, move them around, and come up with combinations of things that no one else has ever done before. That's, there's that book, The Art of Stealing or something, but it's the idea that there's nothing new ever. Like there's not going to be anything. There's the periodic table and everything's from that, but it's like, what constitutes new? Well, I think that is precisely what constitutes new is to be really creative. You not only have to find something that no one's ever thought of, and it also has to be useful.
Right.
Yes. That's the missing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the missing thing between. I think you can have really creative, interesting work, but the shit that doesn't blow up, it's because it's really not useful. But if you can get you have some utility, and it's like something's no one has ever thought of this before. That's when you're teaching people to see, like I was saying earlier.
See outside the box.
That's what artists should do.
Yeah.
Because it's like the person they don't have the neural connections to appreciate this like really obscure song about shoe size or whatever.
Yeah.
But really, or just something else, just some kind of like high art or whatever.
Yeah.
They literally can't see it. They can't even hear it.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the ability.
They've never been in this house before. Where's the bathroom?
Yeah.
But
You know what I mean?
I also really like that idea of you utilizing the analogy of a song structure and saying that the chorus is that moment of total abstraction of this is the new element, and you can consider the verse or the intro or any something else within that song that's setting up that moment of newness, if you will, or expression of this element, just intangible idea or whatever you want to consider it to be in that time, because that is your setup. That is the comfortable zone that you can place that person into, and then you surprise them with this new idea, this new set of lyrics or a song or like a chord structure or whatever it may be within the element of a song. And then you can lure them back into that state of comfortability, and that I think would be the third leg of what you're talking about, and how to properly convey this new idea to create a good stable stool, if you will.
Stable stool.
Form on form on form.
Yeah. So, it's something that's not high art or too much of high art, if you will, to where like you can lure that person in and then you hit them with the chorus or the new idea.
Yeah.
And it be this ultimate form of creativity in the sense that it is something that's new, that hasn't necessarily been done before.
And useful for their brain. Like it's they get it.
Takes them somewhere.
A good example of that not being the case, and there was like a movement in music maybe in the late 80s where it was like super abstract, like so far fetched. It was dumb. They would just record like somebody like hitting a piano with a baseball bat, not even really on the keys, just like weird stuff like that. 15-minute songs, people pouring water, and like there's video clips of them doing it, and they're like dancing as they do it. And it's like, okay. No one's ever thought of that before, because
also, who gave you that much PCP?
And these were like really well-respected artists. They probably had crazy record deals.
Of course.
But the thing about that, it wasn't useful. So it didn't take off because
it was just a fun thing that they did.
Yeah.
basically.
Well, it's
at the end
almost
of the
like-
day. It's
so-
like, oh, we did some weird shit that day.
I mean,
anyway.
hopefully, yeah.
From what I hear from that is like a nostalgic tangibility.
Well, that's
Like
it.
almost
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like something the relativity of that has to come from something.
Right, an
before,
antecedent,
you
an
know.
a priori,
Right.
And that's what you mean. That's what he was saying about the emotional part of the hippocampus, and that's the thing. When you're like 16, you got a shit ton of hormones flying around. So like the music you listen to, like if anybody hears this and they have somebody that's starting to get in the early stages of dementia, find out what was playing where that person was living when they were about 16. Start there, and then just play them stuff and keep a catalog of the things that they really respond to.
Yeah.
And just keep it as a playlist.
Yeah.
And it's cool. But the reason it's so impactful is because not just the brain centers involved, but also like where music is stored. Because it's just stored everywhere for various reasons, which is kind of why I believe the hypothesis about development, about not just language. I think in general, like tonal languages, for example, like where they don't use, their music doesn't use the Western scale. They hit the notes in between the notes on the piano. But I think when you think about development of people, oftentimes movement is associated and complex abstractions are associated. And these are all things that when you look at the developing brain, these are milestones that happen when you're a baby. Like you get your motor function and bilateral symmetry and all these things, and they build like scaffolding.
Right.
And music is kind of, I think, if it hits all those parts of the brain, that's why it's so fascinating, I think, to think about it. And in therapy, but also just
general.
creatively. Yeah.
Yeah. Just as a part of life, I think it's, clearly this table is preaching to the choir, but, I think is one of the more expansive, obviously oldest and like just deeply interesting elements of existence, because it does hit on so many different things. We could spend a whole season on it if we really wanted to,
Legit.
Yeah.
We may in the future. Stay tuned.
I do got to plug. I want to plug something. This is an old school thing. It's called How Music Works, and it was probably 80s, 70s or something. And they got like 4 episodes. There's like harmony, rhythm, bass, and they kind of tackle like the core elements of what music is. But it's explained in a really interesting way where he'll play like some Afro-Cuban music and then Stevie Wonder, and he points it all back to like the original idea of polyrhythm and why people dance to music and and how things went from one saloon piano player wasn't able to play all the parts at once, so he started pushing the right hand to get it in, but then you had all of a sudden you have the push, the dance, like the one ands and the two ands and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thing if everybody wants to
That's super dope.
Dive in there.
get the basics of music, and then you can really appreciate more, I think, after. And it's really,
Of course. Well, if you
easily
don't
explained.
already appreciate music.
or more, I guess more so than you
Wait.
did before.
Exactly.
Right.
But yeah. Definitely get a deeper
I've
understanding.
met one person in my life that said they don't like music.
I've met
Of
somebody
any
like that
kind.
too.
I was like,
one.
what?
I've met one
met
person
one.
like that
Just
myself,
one,
and
yeah.
I was like, so nothing though? Like you like nothing? Like
Yeah.
What do you do? What's in your
this
brain?
one person
Yeah.
that I met was wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt.
Oh,
That's
man.
fun.
But I'm just saying.
Well, they
it was
weren't-
just like,
you don't like
I
music.
don't like music at all, and I'm like,
I
what,
just
your,
like Guns
your,
N' Roses.
Your shirt.
Like, I mean,
Did
what?
he like them though? Like
No.
as people or something?
No, I think it was just like a catalyst to fit in, kind of a deal.
It's
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
it's that fucking thing that's always been trending where people buy band T-shirts.
Metallica.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, do you even fuck with them?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
Name a
You-
Metallica song.
like the whole Rolling Stones fucking mouth thing, bro. Like I see it everywhere, and it's like,
Yeah.
do you fuck with the Stones?
Oh,
I actually
yeah,
know some
right.
people that like play for the Stones, and like people that are on tour with them a lot. Like no, I don't even know.
Yeah,
an
Rolling
album.
Stones. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning. yeah, you know.
Just adding. Also, it's a country
no,
guy
man.
too.
Yeah, you
I
have
see.
to add
I'm a Rolling Stone. That's why I like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah,
You see what
you
I'm
know.
saying?
Yeah.
You feel what I'm
Rolling
saying?
Stone don't gather no moss, Mama always said.
And moving on into the hot facts. Hop back in there, my guy.
Yeah. So this can kind of be like a little setup for next week, just so we all know about the book we're gonna be talking about.
Okay.
But homie Daniel Levitan, he has a background in music, similar to most of us. You know, he discovered how dope it was at an early age, became obsessed with it, and did it better or more focused than most other aspects of life, like school. Because apparently he lit his college dorm stereo speakers on fire by playing them so loud.
That's awesome.
And then dropped out pretty quickly after that.
That shit sounds made up.
That sounds made
That's
up.
not real.
And he's been a fair amount of
his
time
RA loved him.
in studios and stuff like that. Like his band in San Francisco did well enough to get an album recorded, which is a really fucking big deal back in the late 60s.
Yeah.
And then the band broke up because like drug issues and stuff like that with other members. But he ended up with like discovering that he had the mind of a producer, basically. So he was spending a lot of time in studios and everything like that. And then after that, he ended up with a fascination of the human mind / brain and dove into like the neuropsychological world in adulthood. And then these two parts of his life got married. Oh, and the book was born. Instead of finding answers, he came away with more questions, which is often the case in science. Each new one led to a deeper appreciation of the complexity of music, the world, and the human experience within all of that.
Bang, bang.
We've been trying hard to figure all that shit out. And not until recently, like the last 200 years or so, we've begun to scratch beneath the surface, like the fabric of space-time, the constitution of matter, the origin of the universe, discovery of DNA.
Bowdy.
The complete mapping of the human genome.
Okay.
But thoughts, feelings, deep, complex emotions like love and, of course, art or music have not really been answered yet, right? Like how all that functions, why we like it so much and everything like that. So that is pretty cool. But he feels like artists and scientists are very similar, and I tend to agree, trying to answer some questions, seeking a truth of sorts, but doing it in a complex, contextual, and even in every ever-changing way. Like today's truth is tomorrow's disproven hypothesis, or expired musical cheese, if you will.
I was about to say, sounds like a chef.
Y'all may know now that the oldest archaeological artifacts are known or assumed to be musical instruments, and they're pretty sure we were playing drums and dancing before we were even talking to one another.
Yeah, we're still grunting.
And when we come together, music usually follows, especially in pre-industrial societies. It's part of everyday life. But recently for us in the West, in the last 500 years or so, there's been a separation of performers and audience. There's a relatively new scientific field known as evolutionary psychology that asserts that our minds, like our bodies, are also evolving. Thought patterns.
Robert Sapolsky. Check him out.
Super cool. Thought patterns, problem solving, perception, etc. All of this evolves just like we do physically. So where does music fit in, and how has it evolved along with us?
Oh, then how is it?
The composer Edgar Varese famously defined it: music is organized sound. Period. The basic elements of any sound are loudness, pitch, contour, duration or rhythm, tempo, timbre, spatial location, and reverberation. Our brains organize these fundamental perceptual attributes into higher level concepts, just as a painter arranges lines into forms, and these include meter, harmony, and melody within music. And when we listen to music, we are actually perceiving multiple attributes or dimensions. And we'll get into all that shit next week.
Oh my goodness. It's getting thick. It's going to get thick. It's going to get thick. That boy thick. So that's all dope shit. But the whole time I was thinking about, getting an album recorded in the 60s, like how massive and major that was, and how important that was, and how it's like not even that important anymore.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
No, it's a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
It's a
Crazy.
penny a dozen.
Like getting your song on the radio was like winning a Grammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about that time. It's crazy. You can't just be the cool guy that does dope shit anymore.
No.
That's what's crazy about like the whole idea of even trying.
Yeah.
Like, how
Exactly.
many songs are out? Like, what are essentially like, and with science too. Scientists also are gamblers. Huge risk,
Yeah.
but huge payoff.
Right.
The opposite of safe. It's like, why would anybody want to be in a pool of 18 million people? Be like, listen to my song.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the
crazy.
odds are just like. So you have to be a little crazy to even try it.
I think so.
But it's
Yeah.
You have to be crazy. Definitely a level of narcissism.
Sure.
And just
But a
pure-
big
pure
level of
madness.
pride
Oh, yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely pride for sure.
I mean, my drum instructor growing up said like really pretty definitively one time. I was a kid and I didn't practice one week, and I showed up and was like, "Yeah, no, I practiced. I did it." Like, look, and he was like, "Yeah, you didn't touch this at
Yeah.
all."
Yeah.
You know?
I know I've been playing for years. I can tell you didn't touch this shit.
And was like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I like doing this a lot." It's like, "Do you want to try and make a career out of this?" And I was like, "Yeah,
How
I think
old were
I
you
do." I was like
then?
14. You know, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I do." And he was like, "Okay, well, spend a lot of time thinking about whether you want to do this or whether you need to do this. Because if there's
Yeah.
anything else in
difference.
the
Yeah.
world that you can see yourself doing, go do that. This is a very, very difficult and risky world that you're potentially entering."
I had a professor
And I
from
was like,
Princeton tell me that
Fuck.
Yeah.
It took me so I was reeling for weeks over that shit,
Yeah.
you know?
shit. The chick I dated in college, her dad was a professor at Princeton, and he sat me down when I first met him. He was like, "Yeah, so what do you want to do?" Like, I was caught up in the whole like organic androids. We're gonna do the shit. It's just getting off the ground. Like this is that shit. I need this in my life.
Yeah.
And he's like, "So you really want to do that?" I was like, "Yeah, I truly want to do it. Like I am a fucking rapper. I do this shit. Like all I do is write, you know." And in that time, like it was my life. It was my whole existence was that shit. And he said, "Well, good luck, but you know, it's a tough road ahead of you, man. You're not gonna be happy a lot,
Right.
and you're not gonna succeed very easily. So, good luck with that." And I was like, "Damn, did you what? Wait, hold on, damn." He gave me like the reality perspective because I was lost in the dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh shit! Like, oh damn, do I really want to do this shit? Like, what the fuck?" And that was like before we did Chasing Trails, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like the old school OA shit. Like he checked me real hard, and I was like, "No, fuck that. I got this shit. We're gonna do this shit."
Which,
you know,
kind of makes me wonder, like, maybe that's potentially where some of that reverence for really successful or famous, if you want to consider it that way, artists comes from, with the audience perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of like, I think we all intrinsically acknowledge how truly difficult it is to create a body of work that is accessible, surprising, relatable, and useful and exciting, and all these different elements combined together. And they manage to like fight their way through the minutia
Yeah.
of everything else that's being released simultaneously.
It's interesting.
You know?
Have you heard of the Pareto distribution? Anybody?
no,
Heard of, don't know anything about
It's
it.
this bizarre phenomenon that occurs over a ton of different fields, but music, it basically states that of a given population, most of the work is done by 10-20% of that group. Almost like 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people, you could say. Or 80% of the good things you do is done in about 20% of your day.
Sure.
So it has many different things. But with music and the rarity of success, really, that's why there's so much music out there and only this small percentage actually makes it. Because really, that just follows that same thing of, it's just a weird phenomenon. Because really there only is that many people that actually do it that well.
exactly.
And it definitely is like, if you don't
It's humbling.
have the, can't take the knocks.
If you don't have the stamina,
Like, dude.
And I mean, that's what he talks about in this book
Especially
too.
if you're not good.
yeah,
is-
and
Like,
also
if you
if you're
suck
not
at it.
good,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That is a really tough thing to try and, determine.
Yeah, because you will get better.
Yeah.
Well, then,
You know,
and then
that's
also,
the thing,
a
but-
lot of people don't have or don't accept true criticism. Like when I show
Yeah.
people some songs and shit, I want them to tell me what the fuck they actually think.
Right.
Or else I'm just like chasing my own ass.
That's
Yeah.
actually a
you know,
Just
I mean,
yes,
I mean, that's
just sycophants around you. They
that's
don't
a
help.
huge thing
Exactly,
for
you
me.
know?
Is
Yeah.
you have to give me real.
Yeah, I mean,
constructive
it's
I'm like,
like-
oh yeah. And it's
If
like,
I
no,
go,
that's fake.
if I go into a kitchen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, hey, like if I prepare something for you and you don't enjoy it, please tell me this was garbage.
Yeah.
If that's the way that you're like,
You know,
my
yeah.
grandmother burnt cheese one time and it tastes better than that. You know,
Yeah.
like tell me for real, because
It's-
how do you grow without criticism? You
literally tell me, oh,
like, you
more
don't.
of this, less of that, a little bit of this thing you need to think about to throw in there. You know what I mean? Like,
Man,
we need this as
brought
creators.
up, what did you say? Narcissism?
Yeah.
I've been in so many bands where like, and everyone knows it's usually the damn singer.
God,
But it's like
The old front man, eh?
the old front man, because you have to be a certain. You have to
we're
have
the
like
best.
fake
We're just the
confidence and
best.
stuff.
We're the best. We're the best at
But
loading
everyone
out
does.
and loading in. We're the best at that for sure.
yeah. Please get out of here with that. Man, one time I worked with a drummer that was like never loaded the trailer.
Oh,
was
dude,
like,
I did
never
too.
see that.
Wow.
I've
Usually
worked
it's
with
the
one
drummer.
drummer that didn't touch his drum set, and
to-
we were like,
I was like,
To my defense, I was a drum tech in Organic Androids.
You were.
Okay.
You were.
That's
That's
good.
good.
I did do some shit.
He's
as
one
a
of the
front
only
man.
ones that
That's
knows
good.
how to.
you were
properly
because that
break
was your
down.
brother.
Because Grant's my fucking brother from another mother.
But
Like,
what's
legitly.
interesting about you though is you said you really like to get criticism. I think a majority of the bands I've been in, usually the singer, they really don't want criticism. In fact, if you say anything, they're gonna bite your head off or go cry in a corner.
Oh yeah,
It's like
many a bands break up
yeah,
because of
that's
that
such a
initial
common thing.
Yeah.
And usually those bands weren't good. Like I've been
Yeah.
in some really not great. But it's like
Shitay.
I'm trying to like kind of subtly like maybe we try this, but they're just so scared to really know the truth, and it's a shame because they could get better.
I've been on
but-
both sides of that where like I will openly like, hey, that's not dope. Like let's
Yeah.
not do that. And then also being like, well, he's trying.
Yeah,
Like, it's as long as the show's good, I guess. You know what I mean?
What'd you think about that, man? Like it was all right. No, it was great.
Yeah.
if
It's
someone
like,
says, "What's the classic?" It's not you, it's me. About your song. If they say like, "Man, I'm not really into that style of music,"
Oh yeah.
but you did a good job.
But he did.
But I don't really like listen to that kind of music.
Yeah.
That means they think it's dog shit.
Yeah, exactly. They are not playing that outside of your presence. They will
Yeah.
never hear that shit again.
Yeah, but they're not going to be mean.
and they're not going to come to
say
your next show either.
No,
No.
not at all. Not at all.
They don't even want to be your friend anymore.
No, they're like, so Mike over there? No, I don't know Mike anymore.
You going to the show tonight, bro? I got this thing.
Yeah.
Gotta
I'm
wash
working
my hair.
clothes tonight.
My
you know?
mom calls me every Friday at 9 p.m. and like it's an hour conversation. So like,
And I'm not pushing my mom off the phone to go
Well,
listen
also,
to
she
Mike.
just died, but she's going to call.
But she's
going
going to call me
it's
tonight.
a
I'm
psychic
pretty
I go
sure.
to. It's a medium that I go to every Friday night at 9 p.m.
Man, my dad just died too.
It's crazy. Yeah. So
And my little girl fell off the balcony. You don't have a little girl. I don't. I've never even had sex, but my little girl fell off the balcony. Man.
I'm having car issues. I won't get there. It's like, bro, you had a car in like 2 years. Fuck is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Y'all, everybody tune in next week. We're gonna dive into deeper into the therapy that music brings and like the psychology of music on the brain and how it's helping us to be our best us as humans on this fucking planet, because it is the essential part of life. It's like fucking water, music, food in my brain. Well, alcohol, music, food. Anyway, so
It kind of provides the same thing. It's like really good food, really good sex, and then drugs, of course. Music, same thing.
yeah,
Same
shit.
same like dopamine receptor release, all that fun shit.
make it
It's
feel real
happening.
nice. Make it feel like you have purpose in life.
Yeah,
and
it's
all
like
that good
prayer.
shit. Anyway, so thank y'all for tuning in. Episode 24, Music on the Brain. I am Justin Hammonds, and I'm saying love, live life, because it's worth living, y'all.
And I'm Drew Shellnut, and I'm saying, I didn't mean to just say that.
I'm Kevin Tetuan. Thanks for having me.
There you go.
And I'm Grant Bramlett. Let's all send Kevin some good, strong energy on Friday.
Yeah.
When's your test? What time of day?
I think it's 8:30.
8:30 in the morning?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
going to be 6 hours. But y'all, I got it this time. But send me
man.
that. Send me that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to set it.
We're going to send it to you.
Oh, sent it.
And
I'll
then
take it.
It's been
everybody,
sent.
this will be released on Friday, so people will,
Oh, tight.
there'll be potentially 12 people also sending you that.
Sentiment.
All
I
12
mean-
of them?
Oh,
Man, that's like
before 8:30 in the morning.
exponentially bigger than one.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But just take their future send-offs of them good
Yeah.
vibrations onto your body and
Time's
such.
relative.
Exactly.
I'll take it.
There you go.
And then once Kevin passes his test, anybody that wants to give him a job, give him a call at 615.
Give me a call at
Actually, do you have an Instagram handle or anything you want to put out there?
Yeah. Tetuanathon.
Tetuan.
Tetuan a-thon.
A thon.
And if you can't spell a thon, you don't deserve it.
It's like a fundraiser, you know?
Yeah, a thon.
Yeah, it's
an
it's just a extravaganza event.
There you go.
Tetuanathon.
Extravaganza.
My friend Jamie coined that, so I can't take credit.
Tetuanathon.
Yeah.
It's really close to Szechuan. Szechuan sauce.
Oh yeah, Szechuan chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, got that one a lot.
Yeah.
Not really close to Titsworth, but
Hey, it's all in there somewhere. Just mix it up, man. Thank y'all for listening, bro. Or ladies and gents, or they or them. Yeah, support us, anchor.fm/Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Throw some monies. Anyway, this has been episode 24 of a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction. And we out.
Thanks for listening and stay tuned for the next installment. Find us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on all things Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Our Instagram handle is friends_facts_fiction. As always, please reach out to us. You can send any of your questions, praise, and fact-checking to friends_facts-fiction@gmail.com. It's important to us to only propagate the truth, and we'll correct any errors we may have made. Your hosts and researchers are Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut. Our episodes are produced by Grant Bramlett. Additional producership provided by Grace Higgs. Our recording engineer is Grant Bramlett. Our editor, mix, and mastering audio engineer is Jeremy Mulder. Lighting design is provided by Justin Hammonds. Our office assistants are Gully and Bull. Our research assistants are Under and Paid. Our current interns are Lost and Questionable. Our personal drivers are Titleist and Tired. And our resident pooches are Pack and Jolene, the Devil Child. This has been a production of Friends, Facts, and Fiction.
What kind of YouTube hole did you get in there, buddy?
oh, dude,
Holy shit.
I pay for YouTube. That's how much I'm
oh,
on
wow.
it.
You're in there.
That's the
You're in
hole.
it.
I
You're in
paid for that hole.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
The days
great.
of free holes are gone for me. Gotta pay for them every time.
holy shit.